Hello everyone, and thank you for joining our workshop. My name is Alina, and here is my colleagues Alec and Stepan, and together we're going to be your tutors for the next 4 days. On the workshop AI Multi-Agent Systems Creating a Voxel City, we will investigate the potential of AI in architecture and design, and we will cover different topics such as creative coding and web development, and also we will learn how to use AI, how to train models, how to use AI multi-agent systems for creative purposes. By the end of the workshop, we will make a voxel structure and a web page to share it online. So if you have any questions, please feel free to write them into the chat, or you can use a Discord channel as well, and just you can turn on your mic and ask. And it seems that this workshop will be pretty intense. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our team, and then we can just jump into the practice. Okay, so I just can move on. Okay, sorry guys. Yeah. We were here, and yeah, Alec, please, can you please introduce yourself? I will just share the screen and yeah, like this.
Albert, or Alec is the same name actually, and I will be your tutor on the day 3 about ComfyUI, about Midjourney. We will produce some textures and assets for the 3D model, and actually everything else on the screen. And I hope we will have a good time and good days for the workshop. And this is some projects where I participated last years. So that's it, I suppose.
Okay, thank you. Well, I will shortly introduce myself, I guess. So my name is Alina, and I'm an architect, and I'm a co-founder at SA Lab. And SA Lab focuses on adaptive architecture and landscapes, both in the physical and the digital worlds. And we are creating a wide range of typologies and sizes, such as modular houses, such as apps, video games, urban planning, and so on. So just everything that we can create, we do. And actually, I believe that we can keep creative freedom developing our own tools. In this case, we are experimenting a lot, and we are developing different tools, and also we are developing Codia now. So maybe you can share more about you, Stepan, and tell more about Codia and what we're doing.
Yep, sure. So I'm an architect. I started SA Lab with Alina many years ago. Probably shouldn't say that. We are keen on teaching various workshop lectures and so on, and all of this stuff happens online mostly. And years passed, and we were hoping to find a great solution for us to be able to host workshops online and share the knowledge that we have. And we were constantly hitting different limitations of various software we were trying. So we started developing our own software tool, which is mostly focused on web development projects, and it's an online platform. Now it is a powered workspace for creative tasks, and you can do different kind of projects using templates or inventing and creating your own tools for your specific needs. And most part of the workshop we're gonna spend in this workspace. You'll be able to get all the code necessary, step-by-step instructions, and so on. And I hope it will work just fine. Sometimes I try to smile, but sometimes I look too serious, especially when I talk about code. So if you see me with a serious face, please don't be afraid. Just believe me, I'm smiling inside. Should I add anything else?
Yeah, maybe if you want, or if you don't.
No, let's continue. I'll keep on talking later.
Okay, maybe we can share the final results.
Yeah, so this is the image that we were promoting the workshop with various platforms. And this was just a quick sketch that we made. And then we tried to create a final project based on this sketch. And this is how it looks. So basically, what we're going to do is something like that. We're going to create a web app. You will be given all the necessary code, all the necessary files for this. We will go step by step, talking how it works and discussing various things. But basically, what we're trying to do is something like that, a similar, simple interface with just some input field where you can type in a prompt for a city, click the generate button, and then neural network will generate a description for the city. Another agent will provide a functional balance based on this description, and the third agent will generate the city districts, the voxels and their locations. What you also see here is this kind of voxel-like stuff. Those are city districts as we think, and you will be provided with tools to generate this kind of assets with detailed instructions on how to create them. And you will also be experimenting with various neural networks and various tools generating textures for your assets. So in the end, I hope each of you will be able to create something similar, but with your own artistic touch, with your own creative vision. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with.
Okay, thank you. And just a couple of words about schedule. So yes, we will have 4 days, and don't worry, no prior coding skills are required to participate in this workshop. So we will cover every step, and I hope you like it and you have some fun. So day
Нет.
1 is today. We will make a
А
short.
что, откуда должно было?
YouTube
Ничего не пришло. Да не пришло ничего. Ничего не пришло. СМС-ки не...
Okay, so yeah, sorry. And the first day is for covering web development and topics like working with web and building your own projects with web, and cover HTML, CSS, and JavaScript power to do it. And also we will jump into a Blender. This is an open source software, so you can use it for different purposes. And we will create some 3D assets, and also we will show you how to do it really fast, because you know, when you are modeling for renders and when you're modeling for web, it's kind of two different ideas, and we need to understand it right now, so everything will work clear, because you know, you don't want to wait 5 minutes to download something and to see it on your screen. And also we will talk about 3JS library. It's a library based on JavaScript programming language, and actually it helps to work with 3D scenes and 3D geometry in a web browser. And this is all for the day 1. Yep. And day 2, It will be more about AI and about different libraries for working with AI based on JavaScript, such as Brain.js, Transformers.js, and so on. So you will just train different models, and you will cover the idea how to do it and how to implement it in your project. Also, day 3 is also for AI, but if the second day is more about, technical issues and more about preparing a template for the next work, day 3 is more about imagination, about different references for your work, and about preparing different assets and also textures for your final project. And also you will have some time for work and for questions and so on. So there is like different, parts. And also you will have templates, you will have assets, so you can just play with prepared materials, so you can just promote your own and develop different ideas by the end of the workshop. And day 4, it's for your presentation, and you will present your beautiful projects, and it's just really simple and easy to achieve, because you can just share your screen, everything will be online, and you can just share ideas behind this project. And if you achieve, if you finish your project and if you show it on this presentation, you can get certificates about it. So don't forget about this great opportunity from the digital futures. So yeah, I hope everything is clear. And also I will share the proper schedule on the Discord channel, so you will kind of see it. And actually, if you have any questions now, maybe nothing in the chat. It's every day from 2 or, this is the schedule for 4 days. I hope you can see it. Time, yes, the time is actually the same. So we
starts every day the same time, but the length of every tutorial is different.
Okay, yeah, I will share it. I believe on Discord channel, so you will see it and check it. Thank you for the question. And yeah, right. Because guys, I believe we are all in different time zones now, so I can just think a bit confused when we're talking about time. Okay, thank you. By the way, I haven't seen your introduction, so feel free to share it, because it's really interesting. And now I think we can just jump into the Codia. Yes, the recording will be available, and I'm not sure that we will do it like really fast, because there is some technical issues with our stream on YouTube, but yeah, we will share it as soon as possible. Okay, so let's jump into the Codia. This is the link, and yeah, I can share it like this, and here is the link. So here is the Codia actually, and like this. So what is actually Codia? Codia is an AI-powered workspace for creative tasks. It means that you can create different animation, animations, video games, different experiments with code, interactive projects, virtual spaces, simulations, and so on, just using code and using Codia. And here you will see different use cases and also some useful resources such as articles and templates, tutorials, and so on. And here also you can see a blog, and I believe that I've shared the link to this article about multi-agent AI systems. Well, actually, it's like a theory about our workshop. So we will talk about it and we will train our models. So it will be great if you have time to write it, to read it, and to just understand the main logic of it. So it's I guess will take maybe 3 minutes or 5 here. And yeah, also you can play with different modes here, like dark or light. And then we can start. And here you can see a button, get started with beta. It's a better version. It's a better version, so you can just click on it. And here you can see templates. And also there is 2 options. You can just use templates, or you can just use here tutorials, challenges, and you can sign up. And I recommend you to sign up because in this case, you can save your project. If you don't, so you need to copy and paste maybe your project and save it like with CodePen or maybe Glitch or different platforms. So if you want to put together in one place, I recommend to sign up and build your project here. Yeah. And here you can see tutorials now. I will start with this one. I believe that should I sign up or not? I can just like, I will put it over here. I hope that you can see everything. So yes, the first step is to go to tutorials, and you can see this part, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Vue.js, intro, and then just click start. So here you can see my screen, and actually every project in Codia consists of 3 parts. We can see files here, and it's an online editor for code. Here we will see our results, and here we will see different steps, or it might be AI hints, it might be different resources or something like that. So you can use it, and it just will help to build your project here. So first of all, I'd like to add something about web development. Actually, in short, it's everything that you can build in web browsers, such as websites, video games, apps, and so on. So you can just create it and share it online. And there is like 2 parts of this process that we need to understand. It calls front end and back end parts. Front end parts, it's responsible for, you know, visual content, like everything that you can see. And backend, it's more about data, about private information about users, and so on. So in this case, we will work with front-end development, front-end web development. And if you are good in 2 parts, you can call it a full stack development. And it means that you can build by your own different projects and platforms, for instance, like Codia. So here, first of all, I'd like to build a short a small project, a web page about like our workshop. And in this case, we will cover the main ideas and the main parts of web development. When we're talking about web dev, about web development, we basically use three ideas. It's three parts, three elements. I don't know. It's HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And HTML is actually a hypertext markup language. It means that it describes every content that you have on your page. For instance, it might be text, it might be links, it might be buttons, images, video, and so on. So it's like just a content that you have on your page. And also, we will see it, but sometimes it's not so pretty, not so fancy. So you want to add different design on your project, maybe color, maybe structure, just organize everything. And in this case, you need CSS, and then you will need JavaScript to make everything work and to make everything interactive. And as you can see, we have three parts: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and only JavaScript here is a programming language. Yeah, just a small meme for you to remember this. Okay, let me check the chat. Oh, hey. Wow, cool. Thank you for introduction. Nice. Okay. So no pressure. You can use also Discord channel and share your introduction here if you want some, private space for this. Okay. What we know about HTML? HTML, it's not a programming language. It describes content on your web page, and also it consists from different tags. Tags might be paired or might be unpaired. And here, as you can see, different steps. And here, for instance, I hope you can see, this is the tag P for paragraph, or H for headings, and so on. And here, this is a really useful resource to investigate different tags and how it works, definition and description of it. So you can just, for instance, you want to add, I don't know, image, okay? And here you can see a tag, image. You can see an example, how to use it. You can see definition and different ideas. So yeah, we will use it for this resource for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript as well. But as you can see, there is different ideas, and you can use it for Python as well. So I hope you will find a lot of useful information here. And yeah, also, I forgot to tell, I guess, that here we prepare different information for you. And if you miss something, by the end of the steps, like steps 24, 25, and 26, you will see the final code for HTML file document, for CSS document, and also for JavaScript. So everything will be clear, and I hope you will enjoy this process. Okay, about HTML. HTML has also two parts, and we have part which is called head, and the part which is called body. And the head, it's an element contains information about the document, and basically users don't use this information, but it's necessary for the browser and for different engine robots, so they can identify your page. And body, it's actually, it's actually the main part where you put everything that you want to see on your web page. And what else? Also, every HTML documents, they begin with a type declaration using the tag doctype HTML, as you can see here. So it will help browsers to understand that the web page will be built on JavaScript, with HTML. Sorry. Yeah, guys, sometimes it's necessary to mute. Okay, and here you can see on the step 2 that we have code, and here we can just copy it and paste into HTML. And right here you can see all necessary files, and here just click on the index HTML and put the code. Okay, and here you can see that everything is I don't know, everything is clear, and we don't need actually to type something. And it's sometimes for beginning, it's really useful, I guess. And what else? We have here the declaration about our HTML file. We have head and we have body, and we have, as you can see, this paired text. And also you can see this green stroke, this green text, and it's actually an HTML, it's HTML comments. So you can put here some additional information for you, maybe some comments about what you're doing now and what you wanna, I don't know, just describe or just add about your code. So everything will be here, and everything will be available then. You can just put it. And it's necessary because these comments will work with HTML, but for instance, if you work with P5.js library, it will work in other ways. So with another idea, but it's necessary to mention. Also, we have two part, the head and the body. And here the head, it will describe the information about the document, and also we need title. And title, it means the element that you can see visible on the tab in the browser, like here. So my title will be my web page. And also we mention different meta. A meta element helps to define the document encoding. And we just copy this part and add between the two text heads. Okay. And here you can see the button run. It will work when you put something and you want to see the result. And I hope you can see the results also here. And also when we're using Codia or different online editor, you can also prettify your code, so everything will be more, beautiful if you don't like this, different text. And my web page will consist from 3 parts. It will be a header, main, and footer. And basically, we have on different web pages, for instance, header. tag will represent different information for navigational system. Here in Codia, you can see home, tutorials, challenges, files, resources, sign up, and so on. And here we will have also 3 elements to navigate through our web page. Also, main part tag will describe some headings, pictures, links, and other content that we need to put it. And also we will have footer. Basically, it's used for, you know, additional information like here or maybe all rights reserved, something like this. So you put it, or you can just you just put this information to users for better UI and UX experience. So let's just copy this and put between 2 text body, and here you can see and also here now we have like these 3 parts of our web page, and we need to put our content here. And I will start from navigation from this part, and I will get just I will put 3 elements, 3 tags, and it will be links, and I will use tag A, which works with links. And also I will add 3 elements, home, about, and content. Here you can see more, and you can just, you know, then change it. And we will put it in the header section between 2 tags, and you will see the results. So yeah, here, as you can see, we can see 3 parts, home, about, and content, and it actually doesn't look so cool because now we just put our content. We don't we just can't now organize it. We can just change colors, maybe size, maybe what else, type of the type of how we put it on our web page, and we will use a CSS and JavaScript to clarify all of this just a bit sooner. And also, I like to add a hero section. Basically, it's you know, a big picture or something like something that can attract users or people that just going through your web page. Maybe it's just a big statement, or maybe just an image, or maybe just a video, or maybe it's a 3D scene. So it may be something that you want to add. And here I will put my ID for this, and it's necessary for CSS and JavaScript to then we can, you know, write different types, different styles for different ID. So we can just copy it and put between main tags. And here you can see I just put I used tag for headings. It's a paired tag, and between I put my text here, and you can just use it if you want. You can use it, or you can change it, I'm sorry, if you wish. And here you can see idea here section. So we will go there. So then I'd like to add more information. I'd like to add more headings, and I'd like to add more text. And I will use tag for headings, and also I will use tag P for paragraph and put this information. Also, I will put it here. And yes, of course, you can change everything then, and you can just play with different logic here. For instance, you can move hero section here, or you can just, I don't know, add more text in the paragraph, or you can just use button here. So don't forget that you can use this resource. And yeah, for instance, if we have you can see the logic here, A for links, and here you put your information and so on. So just play with the different text and put some content in your project. And also I'd like to add a footer text. It will contain just information about here and about the title of the workshop. So I just copy it and put over here between two text footer. And yep, I see it. Yeah, now I can see it over here, and for sure we will change a bit this design with CSS. Well, and now I'd like to know, is everything clear? Maybe I need to explain something, or everything is great, or you just watch and then you will try to repeat it and build your own project? Great. Okay, so we are here, and we can use CSS to organize. Cool, thank you. So we can use CSS for organize our website, web page, and let's do it.
Style it, basically.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, so for using CSS, we need to open a different file. It's called style.css. Okay, so CSS is short for Cascade Style Sheets. This is not a programming language as well. It's just a language that defines the appearance of elements on a page, colors, fonts, etc. First of all, you see some lines of code here as well. It says body, background, white. What we see here, first of all, we see a reference of an element in HTML file. If you remember, we basically put all our tags between the body tags. So body is the name of the tag in HTML file. Then we see curly braces, and every property you want to declare for this element, you have to write it between the curly braces. Every line in CSS should end with this sign, semicolon.
Yep.
And what it says, background, it means background of your web page. White means the color of the background of your web page. There are many different CSS properties and selectors. So body here is selector, and everything between the braces is properties. There is a link in the step to the page with selectors, and you can look through it and find some useful information here as well. First of all, we'll try to rewrite our body properties. So I just copy some code from the step and replace it, replace the existing code with the code from the step. If I click run now, I'll see that the background color slightly changed. So it was completely white. Now it's a bit gray. And yeah, really light gray. We also mentioned font family here, meaning what kind of fonts we want to use in our web page. And we said Arial as a primary font we want to use here. But in case Arial is not available in the browser or in the system that user is using, we can use sans serif, any sans serif. There are 3 groups of fonts available in the browsers. One group is serif. Those are fonts like Times New Roman, like old Antiqua style. The second group is sans serif. These are fonts like the one you see here on the screen, modern and simple, minimalistic kind of fonts. The third type is monospace fonts. Those are the fonts that you can see in your code editor right now. Those are the fonts when every character is taking the same amount of space, no matter the size and the width of the character itself. So properties like margin and padding are basically setting up the offsets from different kind of elements. Margin sets up the offset from the border to another element outside of the border, and padding sets the offset from the border of the element to the contents of the element. We'll see how it works later. Today or maybe tomorrow, definitely. And background, you're already familiar with this. So next step is adding some styles for our header parts, footer parts, and navigation. Okay, just copy paste this, and what we see now, now we see that our header part has a different background color as well as our footer part. And we're not using background property here, we're using background color property. There are different options for background properties. You can use colors, images, and so on and so on. Lots of properties are set up by default by your browser. So we are mentioning here only the properties we really need to change. Color, this is the color of the characters and letters we are using on our web page. Padding, these are the offsets from the border to the element located inside. And text align suggests that we align our text elements certain way on our web page. Center means that all the text is aligned along the center line of our web page. Then we set up several properties for our navigation block on top of the web page. So first of all, we set up the display property. There are different ways you can display your data on the web page. First of all, the basic way is called display block. It just puts every element under another element. Display grid, for example, structures all your elements in a grid system. And display flex It's just stretches all the elements in various directions depending on how you set it up. So let's try to remove display flex and see how it all works. And we see that all our elements are located pretty close to each other. They are aligned along the center, but they are grouped together pretty close.
I believe that you need to add something about comments here in CSS because it's different than in HTML.
Yep, okay. So CSS also has some comments, and they are looking different from the HTML comments and from JavaScript comments. And CSS comments are using the slash and then this star symbol at the start of the comment, and then star and slash at the end of the comment. You can tag, you can comment any line of code by pressing Control and the slash on your keyboard if you're using Windows, or comment and slash if you're using macOS. Property like justify content space between sets up the equal space between the elements in our header. So we have 3 links, and now we have equal space between the home and about and contact. Later on, we can specify certain properties for certain elements within another element. So for example, here we have our element nav from HTML page, and then we specify the links located within this element with the anchor tag. So here we specify properties like text decoration. We just remove those underlines and the blue color, which is the basic setup for a link on a web page, and we change the color for our link. Another property we can mention here is hover. These are separate properties that you can define when your element is hovered by the cursor. So now if you hover over any word in your navigation, you will see that it changes the color a bit. So we just put different color here, and now our white links become gray when we hover our mouse over them. Basically, this is what you can do with hover properties, and you can you can play with different properties here with different colors, backgrounds, and so on, customizing your web page and your elements the way you want. Step number 13, adding custom fonts. Sometimes you don't want to use basic fonts that are available in the system of the user, and you can use your own custom fonts. There is a great place for this called Google Fonts. You can find different kind of fonts there. So if you just type in fonts.google.com, you will get to the basic page with different kind of fonts available here. You can search for different fonts. For example, I was searching here for something pixel-like looking, and I found this Pixelify Sans font. If you click on this font, there will be a blue button. Okay. Get the font, and when you click this blue button, you'll get on a page with 2 blue buttons. The first one says get embed code. This is the one you need, and you can add this font either in your HTML file or in your CSS file. In HTML, you will use the link element and locate it within the header, the head section of your web page. And for CSS, you will use import. And this is the line that we copy and place on top in our CSS file. So this is the line that we copy and we place it on top of our CSS file. So now we have this custom font in our CSS file, and we need to use it somewhere. The next step is declaring properties for our main section. Let's add them and see what happens. Well, now we have this custom font. It's pretty big and doesn't look really nice, but bear with me. When we add JavaScript, it will all come out nicely. So basically what we do here, we set up some properties for our main section, like removing margins and paddings. In our main section, we have a group of elements grouped in a div element with an ID hero section. And you can address elements with certain IDs by writing hashtag and then the name of the ID here. So in our hero section, we set up a position property, which will be useful on the next step. And we set up color, and we also set up the text align property here. Then we set up special properties for the heading within the hero section. And here we use absolute position because we want to use this heading in front of the canvas. And we need to set up this absolute position for this. You will see how it works in the end of the tutorial. Font size is the size of the font. We just type 7. There are different ways to set up the size. You can use different units. For example, you can use pixels, and it's not a really great way to use pixels because this will use the same size of the font no matter the size of the screen you're using to view your web page. So when you mention some not exact units, but I don't know how to say it. Well, it was RAM written here, and this size RAM depends on the size of the screen you're using to view the web page. So it's always changing and adapting to the screen size. And the next thing we mentioned here is font family, using our custom font named Pixelify Sans, or otherwise, if this font is not available, for example, you can't download it from Google Fonts using their APIs, you just will use sans serif, any sans serif font. App canvas, this is where our canvas, this is the ID of the canvas. The canvas is used for displaying graphics. And we just remove border here, just we don't want any borders so on our canvases. Info panel, so this is the text below the canvas. This is the text. Just can select it because of the great size of the heading. Just a second, let me fix this. So now we got a smaller heading. This is the info panel. So we set up some headings so that there is some distance between the edge of the page and the text and the background color as well. Okay, we can select a different color and see what happens. And now we have a different color for our info section here. I guess that's it for CSS for now. So basically what you have to understand now that you can address various elements from HTML page, you can use various IDs using hashtags, and you can use a lot of different properties to style your elements. That's it, kind of basic knowledge of CSS that we need to build our web app later on. So let's dive into JavaScript. All the information for the JavaScript code, we will locate it within our script.js file. We will dive right into 3.js library without especially talking about basics of JavaScript itself, but I guess that you will be able to keep up. There is nothing so special gonna happen. So what is Three.js? If you click on the link here, you'll go to Three.js website and you will see that Three.js is a library basically for creating 3D in your browser. There are various examples of what you can do. Just feel free to take a look on these examples. There are games, there are just interactive web pages and interactive experiences and so on and so on. Lots of different stuff happening here. It's not so easy to create 3D apps working in a browser. And I guess we'll all face the difficulties later on, but it's achievable and you can do it. So first thing, when you are using separate library in your web project, you need to import this library. And different libraries are imported different ways. Some of them can be imported directly into the script.js file. Some of them require importing in HTML file. So for Three.js, for example, you need to copy those two script tags and place them in your head section. And basically, those script tags are looking for a Three.js library located somewhere online. There are tools like CDN, Content Delivery Networks. They help you to upload your libraries and parts of code, and then you can use just a link to get them from the CDN container. So now that we uploaded and imported our library, we can use it within our script.js file. This is step 17. First thing we need to do is import the library. What we do here is we write import. The star symbol here means that we import everything from Three.js library, and this everything is named 3 with capital letters. So every command we want to use from the Three.js library now, we will have to start from 3 in capital letters. The next thing we need to do is to create a scene. So basically, if you're familiar with 3D editors, you have some 3D space within them, and you have cameras to look at your objects, and you have some objects in your scene. While in 3D editors, it all works out of the box, with Three.js, you have to set up this all by yourself. So first thing, we are creating a scene. Scene is a container for all the objects we want to see there. What we do here, we just write a new variable, and we say that this variable named scene is now a new scene from Three.js library. What is variable? Variable is a container for data. If you need something in your JavaScript code that you will be using from time to time in different parts of your code, you need a variable. It's container for data. You may think of it as a box, and you just put different elements in this box. This box can contain letters, numbers, words, 3D objects, links, videos, and so on and so on. And there are different types of variables in JavaScript. Some of them are initiated with the keyword const. This means that this variable will never change its value. So the scene variable will not contain any other object but the Three.js scene. There are also let keywords and var keywords, and they are allowing to change the data stored by a variable. For example, a number. If you have a variable that contains a number and then you add another number to this variable, then the initial number will change and you need let word to initiate such a variable. I guess you'll figure it out later as well. So we now created a new scene, and the next thing we need to do is to change the background of our scene. We just type in scene.background, and we say that the background of our scene is new 3JS color, and then in the braces we mention what color exactly. You can write names of different colors like red, yellow, blue, orange, and so on. You can write colors in RGB format, or you can use hex symbols also, and hex way to mention colors. If you want to be more familiar with different ways to set up colors, you can use color picker tool from Google search, and you have different options for setting up colors like RGB, hex that starts with the hashtag, or just words, as I said before. So the next thing we need to do is to add camera to our scene. We create a new variable, call it camera, and we say that this camera variable is a new perspective camera from 3JS. Then we set up some properties for our camera, like field of view, like how many objects we can see with our camera. We need to set up the aspect ratio of the image, saying that this camera will have the image with this aspect ratio. Basically, we just divide width of our web page and the height of our web page. And then we set up clicking. 0.1 means how close to the object we can see it. If we get closer than this distance, we will not see this object. And 1000 is how far we can see with our camera. If we get objects that are further away than 1000 units from our camera, we won't see them. So these are just basic setups for our camera. And the next line is camera.position. We just move our camera a bit so that when we add other objects in our scene, we can see them with the camera. Otherwise, all the objects will be added in a single coordinate, which is 0, 0, 0, and we won't be able to see them with our camera. So if you want to change the position of the object in your 3JS scene, you just type like camera.position, then mention the axis you want to use, like X, Y, Z, and set up the value. It's important to notice that apart from traditional 3D modeling software, the vertical axis in 3JS is called Y, and X and Z axis are located in the ground plane. So if you want to move something vertically up and down, you have to use Y axis. Next thing we need to do is to set up a canvas we will be using to render our scene. For that part, we use the canvas that is already located in our HTML file. And to get elements from HTML file in JavaScript file, we need to use commands like document.getElement, and then either by ID or by class name. There are different options, but we are using getElement by ID command, and we mention the ID that is specified in our HTML file to get this object in our JavaScript file. And we call it the same name just for the sake of clearance, I guess, to make everything clear and understandable. Next thing, we need to set up a tool that will render our image and will help us to visualize our scene. This tool is called Renderer, and there are different types of them available in 3JS library. We're going to use WebGL renderer. WebGL is a technology that helps you visualize 3D objects in a browser. And here we specify the canvas element we want to use, which is app canvas, a variable we just created that contains our canvas from HTML file. And another property we want to use is anti-alias, which is a property useful to avoid pixelation of your image. And just if you set it to true, you'll get a sharper and better result on your screen. Other options here that we use are set size for our renderer, the same size our camera is using, so that they correspond the image produced by the renderer and the image which is seen by the camera should be the same. Pixel ratio property defines how sharp the picture that you see. Basically, it's using the device pixel ratio. Otherwise, it's using the to value for this. Well, it's all for just a clear picture on your screen. And then we set up a resize function. A resize function is necessary for when you change the size of your canvas, so that the camera and the renderer update with the new size of the canvas. This is why we're setting up the resize function here. Now, we know what variable is, and here we see a function. Functions are useful to make groups of commands work together. If you need to trigger multiple commands one by one, you can just group them within a function, give this function a name, a proper name, and then call this function wherever it's necessary. So here we group commands like updating render size, updating camera, and so on within the function that we call resize. And using this line, window.addEventListener resize, we call this resize function every time our window change its size. Okay, those are some basic setups we need. Then let's add some objects. There are different ways to add objects. It depends whether you use your custom 3D model or you want to use some basic objects from 3JS library. For now, we're going to use some basic objects from 3JS library, and we will dive into uploading custom models later on. So first of all, to create an object in your scene, you need to specify a geometry. What kind of object is this? Geometry, there are different types of geometries. For example, here we are using box geometry. You can also use sphere geometry. And if you go to JS website, click documentation, and here in search, for example, you can type geometry. You will come up with this list of various geometries available, like box, capsule, circle, and so on and so on. And yeah, so various kinds of geometries. Apart from geometry, you need to specify material. There are different types of materials. For example, here in this example, we are using a normal material. If you go to the docs here and search for material, you will see a list of available materials that you can use for the objects. For example, basic material provides just a color with no need for any extra lighting in your scene. You will just get an object completely in a color that you specify, for example, a blue color. a standard material requires some lighting in your scene, but it can provide you with some shadows, different color tones, and so on. If you are using normal material, like in our case, this material provides you with different colors based on the normal's direction of your geometry. And these are some just funny color effects that you can achieve using normal material. So here we use mesh normal material applied to our box geometry. Then finally, when you're ready to create your object, you need to specify a command like mesh, and then specify geometry, type of geometry you're using, and type of material you're using. So this line creates a new mesh for us. What are these 4 lines? 4, 4, 4, 4. These are called loops. When you need to repeat various actions, you can use loops. So basically, we want to create a grid of 9 boxes here, 3 in the first row, maybe even more. I guess even more. We'll see it later. 3 in the first row, 3 in the second row, and 3 in the height. So we are using loops, creating our multiple cubes. Then we changed the position of our cubes so that it was looking nicely from the camera. These are not necessary, but it's just a better way to set up the scene. Then we add our objects within an array. What is an array? If variable is just a container like a single box, then array is like a lot of boxes contained together, and every box has its number. So we want to animate all the boxes we created later on in our scene. For this purpose, we push them to an array called Voxel City. It's just a name that we came up with. And later on, after you created an object, you also need to add this to the scene, triggering scene.add command and specifying the object you want to add to the scene. So our final step, we can finally see what's going on in our scene. The final step is a function usually called animate. This is the function that draws our scene every frame, every second. To achieve this, we have to use request animation frame command, which is triggering the same function. And it's a function called within a function. It's an endless loop. It is used in game design. It's called game loop, for example. Further on, we have to specify what are we going to render. We are going to render our scene with our camera, and we're going to animate our objects contained in our voxel city array. To achieve this, we'll use for each method available for arrays in JavaScript. These are just a shortcut method. Instead of writing this for loop, you can just type the name of array, then type for each, and specify what you want to do with every element of this array. We want to rotate it along y-axis, rotate it along x-axis, and the last step is to trigger this animate function. And let's see what's going on. And nothing goes on. Probably there is something I didn't do. Rendering is not equals animating. Rendering is just displaying an image, Animating is changing the properties of the objects in your scene. So, don't know, something is happening. Let's just change. Yeah, finally. So there was some typo, I guess, or maybe I mixed up the order of those script tags here. Okay. So now what we see, the same page that we had before, but within our canvas element in HTML page, we see rotating boxes. Let's just change the camera position from 3, for example, to 10, move it a bit more far away, and we will see that we have those boxes rotating. And we can also change, for example, camera.position.y to move it a bit up. Let's change it to, I don't know, 3, for example, hit run again. And you see that you have also boxes behind those boxes that we saw first. So altogether, we have 27 boxes rotating in our scene. And they have this normal material. So if I change box geometry to some other geometry, I will get a different result. If I change a material, for example, I can use basic material instead of normal material, and I will see white cubes, just because standard color, default color for basic material is white. If I want to specify another color, I have to use those color property and say, for example, red. Yeah, now I have red boxes in my scene. If I use standard material, I will see black boxes. Why is that happening? Because we don't have any lights in our scene yet. If we want to use standard material and we need to add some lighting to our scene, let's dive into the slides. There are 2 types of lights. First one is called ambient, and it's just a basic illumination of your scene. It's a light that goes from everywhere, for example. Now I see my boxes became a little bit more brown. Probably I can specify the power of this ambient lighting. Yeah, the more brighter the ambient light, the brighter the boxes appear, but still they don't have any shadows. So if you want to have shadows in your scene, you have to at least use a directional light. But in order to set up proper shadows, now you can see that some parts of cubes are a little more illuminated than other sides of cubes. In order to set up shadows from one cube to another cube, you have to provide a lot more properties to your scene, and we will cover it, I guess, later on, or maybe not. Don't know. This is not necessary stuff for our project. So basically, this is it for 3GS introduction. Do you guys have any questions? How to save the project of the web page? In order to save the project of the web page, there are different options, two ways you can work with Codia. The first way is like this, when you're just using it as a sandbox, just to test stuff, to walk through tutorials and see how it works. The second option is if you go to the start page and you create an account and you log in. then you can create a project. You can select a template, for example, a static one, hit create button.
Stepan, you need to share your screen, I think.
Thank you for the catch. Okay, all right, let's go back. So if you're log in, you'll be able to see this create button in green colors. So you just select a template and hit create. And you'll create a new project. You can type a name of your project here. For example, you have same files like index.html, style CSS, script.js, and so on. And here in the right section, instead of just tutorial steps, you have a bit more, a bit different panel. First of all your tutorials are located here in this tutorial section. And if you open this up, you'll see this tutorial that we were following just now. And you'll see all the steps, and you can grab the final HTML code from here, CSS and JavaScript, paste it in your files, and then hit save button. This will save your project, and you'll be able to share your project with others. You will also be able to upload necessary assets for your project, like images, or if you just hit upload assets, you will see that you can upload images and GLB files here for now. Just JPEGs, PNGs, WebPs, or 3D models in GLB format. Just drag and drop your file here, hit upload, and you will see it here in the list of files for your project. We will cover this tomorrow, I guess, in more details. And apart from tutorial steps, you also have challenges section here, and you also have this input field saying ask anything. You can communicate with our multi-agent AI system here. So if you type something like, I don't know, how do I create a landing page for a workshop, and send this request, it will go to our multi-agent system. And if you were reading an article in our blog we were sharing before the workshop, you will know that we have a system of agents, and they will provide you with detailed code, both HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, with some kind of suggestions what you can do, and with some kind of artistic guidance. But this system is still in beta, so you can use it, of course, but just be patient. Sometimes it provides strange results. But yeah, basically, I guess this is all I can say about this resources panel here. So if you want to save your project, you need to create one, provide some code here, hit save, and you're good to go. Okay, so when I started working on Codia, my point was that in order to, and this kind of just a vision, a hypothesis of what's going to happen next, now everybody is using software belonging to different type of companies. And the next stage is when we all as creators start developing our own tools. And this is kind of a large mission for our Codia project to help everybody develop their own tools. maintaining their creative freedom, staying free from enterprise software, and so on. That's why we are building those AI agents to help you, and also build some tools that we will share later as templates. For this workshop, we created this kind of tool. I will share the link later in Discord, or I will upload it for the homepage. You'll be able to find it here among other templates as well. So in our final project, we use those assets like voxel types of city neighborhoods with various textures and some extra geometries sometimes. So to create those assets, you can use this tool. It runs with Cellular Automata algorithm under the hood, and you'll be able to see all the code. It's a pretty long one, and I guarantee you that it can be optimized, and I have to look into it, but still it works. What you can do is just hit generate button, and you will be provided with some 3D structure like this. It uses 10 by 10 by 10 grid, a voxel structure, and you can set up different kind of neighbors. If you know what Cellular Automata is, basically it's a grid, and every cell knows what happens with its neighbors, and every cell can have two states. It can be either alive or dead. And here we're using a 3D grid like this, a 3D Cellular Automata to generate such structures. You can just specify the conditions for whether the cell is alive or not. And basically here we're saying that it's alive if it has neighbors between 6 and 12 alive neighbors. So if we change those numbers, for example, 8 and 12, hit generate again, we'll see that nothing is working just because every cell went dead. Probably if we hit generate again, no, it's not working. So we need to lower the amount of neighbors alive. So yeah, if we hit 7, we'll get a different structure. And every time you hit generate, you'll get a different structure with the same rules applied. And basically you can increase this number and you will get a more not so porous structure, yeah, more rigid, more unified structure. So basically playing with these two numbers and hitting generate button, you'll get different kind of 3D structures. And then when you're happy with your result, you can hit export, and this thing will save your 3D object to your downloads folder as an OBJ file. You can use to prepare your assets any software you want. You can use Blender, Maya, 3ds Max, whatever. But in order to upload your assets and use them in your browser, you need to export them in GLB format. So for example, I exported this structure as an OBJ. I can then open Blender, and our next part of the workshop is dedicated to Blender. So if you're not familiar with Blender, everything is pretty simple here. I hope so. So basically you start with this scene where you can see a box, where you can see a directional light, and where you can see a camera. Camera is used to render your scene, lights are used to provide lighting, and various type of geometries can be located here. This is a usual 3D mesh modeling tool. Nothing so special apart from the fact that there are a lot of hotkeys and key combinations to work in Blender. For example, if I want to add another geometry, I can either go and hit add here on the top left edge of my screen, top left corner, or I can hit Shift A, and this will give me a menu where I can choose what kind of objects I want to add. For example, in this mesh section, we have different kind of objects like plane, cubes, spheres, cylinders, cones, and so on. The most famous object here in Blender is this monkey head. If you add this object, you will see a monkey head. And this is not just a monkey, it's an object that has a name. The monkey is called Susan. Actually, I don't know the story where this thing is coming from, but it's pretty funny. So just hit Shift A and you're good to go to add any objects. When you want to move an object, for example, you can use a panel on the left again with some tools. There are move tools, rotate, scale, and universal transform tool. For example, I hit the move tool, and now with a selected object, I can see those axes I can use to move my object around the scene. If I don't want to select a tool from the menu, I can just hit G button, select an object, for example, select an object, hit G button on your keyboard, and you're able to move an object in your scene. If you want to move it along a certain axis, you can just hit the name of the axis then. For example, if I hit X, I can move an object along the X axis. If you want to move it for a certain amount of, for a certain measure, for a certain length, you just keep on typing on your keyboard number, for example, 2. If you want to move it in a negative direction, you can type minus, and it will be moved in a negative direction. So you just have to get familiar with the keyboard and the keys and the functions that they represent in Blender. So if you want to rotate an object, you can hit R, for example, and then again choose an axis, for example, Z axis, which is a vertical axis in Blender, apart from the Y axis, which is the vertical axis in Three.js. So if you want to rotate, you just hit R, then choose the axis and move your mouse around, or specify an angle, for example, 90 degrees, and I will rotate Susan's head 90 degrees. Scaling objects, hit S, and then either move your mouse to scale your object or type in the scale factor you want to use. That's a short introduction for moving your objects. If you want to change material, okay, let's talk about materials later. Let's talk about modifying your object. If you want to modify an object, for example, turn this box into a cactus, you can either go to a modeling tab on top of your screen or just hit tab key on your keyboard. I switched to modeling tab, and now I have in my left corner edit mode turned on, and I have different tools. I also have those move, rotate, and scale tools, but I also have extrude tool, inset, bevel, loop cut, and so on, many other different tools. And I have different controls for my geometry. For example, now you can see that the vertices are selected and they are colored with orange. Aren't agents available in resources tab yet? Basically, they are available, but they are not the agents we are going to build. We're going to build different kind of agents with different call setup. Those are just agents that are here to help you design and create your projects. You can ask them code questions, you can ask them some artistic guidance, and so on. And if you created an account, you should be able to have 100 AI requests. Are you sure that you're looking in the resources tab when you created a new project? You have to create a new project in order to be able to use agents. And in order to create a new project, you need to sign up and log in your account. Then you will be able to create a project. Okay, coming back to our vertices. So you can select and control your geometry in various ways. First one is selecting vertices. To select vertices, you either hit one key on your keyboard, or in your top left corner, you can see next to edit mode, blue button with a vertex selected. There are three buttons. The first one with the vertices, the second one with the edges, and the third one selects faces. So in order to switch between those options, you either hit 1, 2, or 3 on your keyboard, or use those buttons. So if I want to move a vertex, for example, I can select a vertex, hit G, and then hit an axis name and move this vertex along this axis. If I hit 2 and select an edge, for example, I can move an edge and modify my box into something else. If I hit 3 and then select a face, and for example, I want to scale this face, I hit S and change the size of this face. And now I have this kind of strange form. So coming back to my box again, so if I hit 3 and then select an extrude tool, I can extrude faces of my objects. And there are different ways to extrude faces, and you can experiment with them. They provide different results. In order to extrude, you can also hit E on your keyboard, and by selecting different kind of faces, you can turn your box in a different kind of shape. Yeah, so now we have this cactus-like voxel thing. Okay, there are also modifiers you can implement to your object. If you go back to layout or go back to object mode, hitting tab, you can apply modifiers by hitting this blue button called modifiers on the right panel. It says add modifier, and you're provided with a menu. For example, you can select from generate section, you can select subdivision surface. And this is a tool that lets you subdivide your objects and make them more smooth and more fluid looking. So now we have something more looking like a cactus, for example. If you right click and select shade smooth, for example, you will see that your object is now completely smooth. Okay. That's basically short for modeling. We have edit mode and we have different tools to create our objects here. Okay, we also have different options for displaying our objects in the Blender scene. Those options are available either in the top right corner of your screen. Like you can choose wireframe mode, you can choose the basic mode that we were using before, or you can use a quick rendering mode or a rendering mode. There are different render engines available in Blender. One is called Eevee and is rather fast, and the other one is called Cycles and it's rather slow but producing better results. Switch between rendering engines you can in this render tab here on the right, the same tab we were using to select modifiers. The first option here showing like backside of the camera is called render, and the first option is render engine, and you can switch between Eevee and Cycles and you can see the difference between them. Eevee is much faster, Cycles is slower, but if you have a decent graphics card, you're good to go with Cycles as well. So if I want to change material color of my object, for example, I need to switch to Materials tab here on the right. And I have a basic material applied here. It's called Material. And I have a base color option. I can click this white rectangle and change colors to the one I want to. Okay, the materials are shown and visible either in rendering mode or the simple one and the really rendering one. The basic mode we were using before will not provide you with the material colors. It will just look like a clay mode where everything is white and gray. And of course, wireframe mode won't show you the materials as well. So just use the third and the fourth options to preview your material. You can also hit Z on your keyboard to switch between the rendering options, and you can use numbers as well. So for example, if I hit Z and then press 2, I will switch to one way of displaying my objects. If I hit to Z4, I will switch to wireframe mode, and so on. So again, some short keys and numbers on your keyboard. Okay, so let me upload an object, import an object that I just created in Codia. This was somewhere in downloads, I guess. Yes, object obj, import, and me delete my cactus, delete the monkey head. So here is the object I created using this tool provided by Codia platform. There are a lot of different planes here, and you can just select all the planes in your scene browser in the top right corner, hitting Shift and selecting all of them, and then you can hit Ctrl J to merge all those objects in a single file. Now, if I go to modeling section, for example, or hit tab, I can, for example, select various polygons of my object. And if I wanted to apply a texture here, for example, I will go to Shading tab. This is the Shading tab. This is a tab to create materials. You can press New button here, and you will create a new material. If you want to apply an image, you can press Shift-A and select from texture options here, image texture. This is a node-like thing to create materials, similar to 3ds Max material nodes, or if you're familiar with Grasshopper, there are also nodes. So this is the area where you can combine different nodes to create your custom materials. I want to apply an image texture, so I hit open here, and we were generating various textures using Midjourney, and Alec will tell you about using Midjourney on Saturday, as well as ComfyUI to create your textures. So these are just basic textures that we were creating. So I just select a texture, and I can see that this texture is applied to my object. If I want to create another material, for example, material, I can select this slot option here and hit the plus button, and this will create another material. I can go to the first slot, select what I have here, go to the second slot, and I supposed to hit Control-C, go to the second slot, hit Control-V. No, nothing happens. Okay, then I create just new material, and then it works. Okay, just create new material, copy paste all the nodes you had, and select maybe a different texture, and then you need to apply this texture on certain areas of your model. For this, you need to hit Tab and then select polygons you want to apply this texture to, hit Assign, and yeah, now we have this texture applied to those two polygons. So again, select polygons, go to a necessary type of material, hit Assign button, and the texture is applied. And basically, you have to repeat this operation many, many times in order to texture your asset for a 3D scene. And I'm really sorry, but I don't know any shortcuts for this. You just have to manually texture your objects. It's really time consuming, but preparing assets is a hard thing, and probably you know a better way to do this. And if so, you could share, that would be really appreciated. But the idea is that you create different materials, select different polygons, and assign those different materials to those polygons. So now, let's imagine that we have, select random by %. Okay, so there are better options for this. Thanks. You're saved, guys. You won't have to spend the rest 3 days texturing your single asset in order to use it in our scene. Okay, so let's pretend that we have it ready. Let's hit Tab again and return from the edit mode to the object mode. We need to First of all, maybe to scale down this asset because it's pretty huge, and in our scene we will be using like containers for those assets, like 1 by 1 by 1. So this thing is pretty big, and it was modeled using 10 by 10 grid. So we need to scale it down to 0.1, and you also would need, I guess, to change the central point of this asset, but it's not strictly necessary, I guess. But the assets we were doing, they had this center point and the center of the geometry. So I'll show you how to fix this now. What you want to do is, first of all, move your assets so that the corners were in the center of the axis, in the start point of the axis. So I will move along the y-axis on 0.05 negative, I guess. I will move along the z-axis in 0.05 in a negative direction, and I will also have to move this asset along the x-axis 0.05. So now I have it aligned along the axis, and I need to move it a bit more. So I will move it along the z-axis 0.5 in a negative direction, along the y-axis 0.5 again, and along the x-axis 0.5 in a negative direction. So now the center of this asset is in the starting point of the coordinate system. And I can go to Object Set Origin and select Origin to 3D Cursor. And now I have my origin point of an asset in the center, in the start of the coordinate system. The 3D Cursor is this little tool with a red and white circle that is used to set up pivot points and so on. Basically, I don't remember how to move it, but there are ways to move it. Oh, just here, Shift and right click, and you will move this 3D cursor. Okay, if you move it and you want to bring it back to the center of the coordinates, hit Shift C. And if you move far away from your object, for example, you can select it either from the list of objects or just by clicking it and hit a dot button on your numpad, and this will bring you close to your object. So now we have it all textured and ready. We need to do one more thing. If you go to the Object Properties tab on your right, you will see that the scale of the object is 0.1 and the rotation there is 90 degrees and the location is somewhat strange, zeros and minus zeros, and you want to bring it all back to default values. You just hit Ctrl-A and select all transforms, and this will bring all the rotation angles, location, scales to the default values. And now you're good to go to export your asset for the web browser. So you select it, you go to File, Export, and you choose GLB or GLTF format. Then you select a proper folder. You name it. I don't know, my asset, for example. You go to Include tab here and make sure that you have checked Selected Objects so that you do not export the whole scene that you have, but you just export a single asset selected right now. You also may need to go to data and mesh and hit apply modifiers in case you have any modifiers on your object. And that's it. You don't need to hit compression, but you can use compression here. And if you use compression, you'll have to import your models in a certain way in Three.js. So I would suggest you to not bother with compression for the sake of this workshop. And you can just hit export and your asset is saved somewhere in your folder. Then if you go to your project, you can use upload assets tab here, select, I don't remember where I put it. Okay, here. Asset. Oh, here's my asset. Select your assets, check that this asset is below 1 megabyte. So mine is 280 kilobytes. This is fine. I can drag it here and hit upload. And after I hit upload, the page will reload and you will see that now I have my asset in the list of files and I have a URL to be able to use it as it in my code later. And I can just hit copy URL and this will copy my URL. If you want to check how your asset will look in the browser, you have to use a tool named GLTF Viewer. This is a tool created by one of the Three.js developers. You can just drag and drop your asset here and you will see how it looks in the browser. Yeah, this is just a way for you to check that you exported only an asset that you wanted to export. You have all the materials properly set up. And you have some options here to play around with lighting, with different scene setups, and see how your asset reacts to this. If everything is fine here, then you're good to go to export and upload it to your project in Codia as well. Okay, I guess that's it for the Blender part, for the minimal Blender part that we need to create assets for our project. Do you have any questions now? Size limitation in Codia, yes. Your asset should be below 1 megabyte. Just a second, below 1 megabyte. If it's bigger than that, you won't be able to import and upload it here. It just won't work. Should we model something today after the session? Basically, it's up to you. Yes, of course, you can model and prepare your asset. And if you want to prepare your own assets, you can. It would be great if you start today. Otherwise, we can provide you our assets, and maybe you don't want to spend your time creating assets. You want to spend your time more on machine learning stuff that we will cover tomorrow. So basically, it's up to you. The link. Here is the link for the CA tool. And I will also share it on Discord. Let me share it on Discord. Okay, maybe later. No? No. Ding, 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 ding. Things. I don't know. I'll share it in general. CA. Okay, it's on Discord as well. Can we model the asset in Grasshopper? Yes, of course. If you're familiar with Grasshopper, we were also modeling the seller automata stuff using Grasshopper. Let me show it to you. This. So in Grasshopper, for example, we were able to split our geometries into separate layers, and every layer had a different material, and it was faster to apply materials for different layers in Blender after that. In Grasshopper, we have a Seller Automata script for this, and if you want, we can share this file also. But we didn't plan to cover it because we have really not enough time for the workshop. So if you want, we can share this file, and here you can just run Seller Automata simulation and then split the result into various planes, bake them to separate layers, import them as an OBJ file in Blender, and texture them and export in GLB. You definitely need Blender to export GLB files. Otherwise, it's not going to work online. GLB is the most popular and the most advanced file format for web apps nowadays. There are different tools in Three.js as well as OBJ loader, for example, but OBJ formats are not great in browser. You know, a lot of different stuff happening with them. So GLB is the most popular and straightforward and time-checked file format for this. So I will share this Grasshopper definition also after the tutorials today. Can the unit be other shape than a cube? Yes, it is. An ordinary container, shape, for example, can the resulting aggregation be two-dimensional? You can prompt an LLM to provide any result you want, and I will explain it tomorrow. And I guess that after that, you'll be able to answer this question. If this question still remains, we'll discuss it tomorrow. Okay, so any more questions for today? If everything is clear, then I guess we'll all meet tomorrow for the more advanced machine learning stuff and uploading your custom models to Three.js files. Yeah, that's it. And I'll try to fix the recording for the YouTube today. Okay, Alina?
Yeah. It was nice to see all of you guys, and don't forget to write if you have any questions or if you have any issues. And yeah, see you tomorrow.
Yep, take care. Don't forget about the Discord.